Okay, it's raining, but as I said, the rain don't stop ish. Hmm. Uh, it's a little drizzle, so it shouldn't affect the camera. But I put y'all, well, I put you under a little pillar, so like the rain shouldn't come in contact until the wind, moves to the moves to the east. You know what I'm saying? So I have failed you. You know, I failed myself also, but not being tempted by any sin of lust, greed, or sloth, or envy, or pride, or wrath, gluttony. It's I have failed from myself, you, mainly because I fell for the most simplest trap that some people do just to spite you, just to get a rise out of you, and I fell for it mainly because it was in my own blood, and my own blood knows how to get under my skin better than anybody else. So with that, I was consumed not by hatred, but straight annoyance. I was aggravated because the most simplest things seem like it's so complex to a person that sees me as beneath them. I'm not seen as a human. I am seen as a burden, and I'm trying to change that. Not only by working or doing this, I want to be different. I don't want to be seen as a burden. I don't want to be seen as a waste of space, a waste of DNA. I want to be great, and being great comes with sacrifices. Being great comes with growing pains, and I hate that. I want to make it to the point where being great doesn't come with growing pains. But then, even when it doesn't come with growing pains, how do you know you really earned it if you didn't have to lose something for it? The equivalent exchange is always used around the world, no matter what it is. It becomes a fame and fortune or straight knowledge. The pain that I hold is no like no other. But we all hold pain. We all have a sad story, you know. So who am I to tell you my pain is worse than yours? It's inevitable to compare, you know. Even with that, it's hard to see what could come from this if it's not positive. I have seen the most treacherous things have been done to me, my biological mother, to even my supposed father. He has gone through pains that I have not understand, and I see the way he is. Do I excuse it? No, I do not excuse it, but I see why humans react the way they do to the pain. We all go through pain. We all soothe our pain in a different fashion, in a different way. So with that, how do I change that? How do I build a better path? I truly don't know, but I will know. I have so many plans written down in the books in my head that even when I put them on paper, it seems like I'm insane. The paranoia gets to me more and more. It does, but with that, I must learn to not overcome, but not even ease or subside the pain, but learn how to figure out why the pain is coming from that direction. Why is it painful instead of enjoyment? Not all pain is bad pain. Some pain can be good. Growing pains, migraines, I do not enjoy pain, but who doesn't? You know, who does actually? We are all seen different by somebody under the microscope of judgment. We are all seen different. It is futile to argue with somebody that sees you as different. But being different can be good. Being unique could be good. Being weird could be great. But also they can switch it into being something it's not. Being a weirdo could be bad. Being seen as a being of not mass destruction but mediocrity. Nobody wants to be average. Nobody does. So we do things to change our appearance in our minds to seem something that we're not. So have I. The clothes, the muscles, the haircuts, the makeup, everything. The things that make us stand out. Some are born with things that make them stand out. It could be a blessing or a curse. Because as you stand out, people want the things that you stand out for, and they take it without asking. Or they kill for it. Or they try to imitate it, manipulate it, and mutate into the things that you were supposedly all natural. But we don't have to see eye to eye to be close. To be here. What is here exactly? Not the present moment, but the way we see a being. Being here is the way you see the being at that moment. Not the present moment, but at any moment. It fluctuates as we evolve. Supposedly, we're on a linear path of past, present, and future. And hypothetically, we should only be able to go ahead and not be harmed. Because how can you go behind before something is created? If that thing creates that thing in the future, how can you go before that when it wasn't created? But if it was already made, if it was made in that point, then it was already made. It was made. It was made completely. It's been made. It sounds like nonsense, actually. But I won't doubt myself. I'll understand it later. My wallet. Grandma gave me this Mickey Mouse. I know, right? Corny, but hey, I love it. Shows character, right? I might wear it black and be dark, but this bad boy get me through a hard time. This is the only thing I haven't lost. I lost keys, money, all type of things, but this right here is the only thing I have been keeping for a long time. And now that I look at it, I haven't really been using it or looking at it how I used to, because everything's on the phone now. You know, I'm not really a you know, currency type of dude. Like, you know, I'm not like an online type of dude. I like everything hands on, but that is coming obsolete, so I had to, you know. But anyway, with that, let's talk business, brother. Let's talk business. Wait, can I get this lower? Alright, bam. Hey, champ. Listen, I won't be here for long. Sad to say, you know. And why do I say that? Mainly of the fact that I know with greatness comes death. With power comes silence. And as you know more, the more is hidden. But as you know more, you see how less you know. You see how your ignorance has hidden you from other knowledge, other worldly knowledge. And I have come to the fact the more you know, the more you don't know. Because you know that you don't know that much. I'm not gonna be here for long. And I want longevity though. So how am I full transparency? When I was younger, I thought I wasn't gonna make it past 15. Honestly. Shoot, even 13. And who thinks like that at an early age? That's crazy, it's scary. But I thought it was just a natural thing, thinking you were going to die at an early age. Not even by gun violence, but just by nature. You could be all healthy as you want, but then brain aneurysm, heart attack, just like that. Most healthiest person in the world, cancer. It's just like that. I wasn't even worrying about getting killed by gun violence anymore because I know if it happened, it happened. Maybe it wasn't my time to go, but right now, that's why I was stuck in the house. Is I couldn't sleep. I still can't sleep, but every day when I sleep, I wouldn't even call them nightmares or dreams. It'll just be the same thing over and over. It's me floating in an empty space, looking at myself, but younger. And my younger self is conversating with some being that is pitch black, not understanding the dialect he's talking about. My younger self shook his hand, smiled, and then disappeared. And I'm like, what is this, bro? Some corny ass. I just thought it was some corny stuff. Like, I was like, bro, this shit corny as hell, bro. Like, I ain't gonna tell nobody. I always thought everything was a cliche, corny, too vivid to speak about. But now that I think about it, I think my time is not near. I have so much time. I'm supposed to be here most longest. Because sometimes most of your legends die at their peak. They get killed or they come to their demise by themselves because their peak or the insanity consumes their mind to the point where they had to suicide with drugs or elimination. I don't know what it is gonna be yet. I don't know. I'm scared. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know? There's nothing wrong being scared. I honestly have to figure it out, you know? Sometimes the silence do get to me. It does get to me. Nobody wants to speak in proverbs or visions or these vague sentences. I try to keep it on a good connect, but who knows? Who really knows? I keep the drama, the pain, and the things I see on daily basis to myself, and I communicate with you positivity. You know, nobody wants to know the pain you're going through. You know, nobody wants to feel pity. You know, I used to look down upon being empathized with, being pitied. You know, don't pity. I used to hate that. You know, I used to hate asking for money, so I never did. I go hungry. I just was scared to eat sometimes because I didn't want to. You know, I was always thinking about other people for myself, and then once I stopped doing that, it seemed to be a problem. So I went back to my old ways, and then I started becoming sick, bodily sick, not mentally, but bodily sick to the point where it was visible. You know, be considerate of others. You know, the darkness may consume your mind, but it won't consume your body if you stay positive. Never. Can't stay sad forever, you know. But who said that? Some people say you can't die with your money. Says who? Bury my, you know, materialistic mindset with me, you know. Bury my goals and riches, you know. People only say that when they're poor. And I'm poor to the poor, I guess, but that's a hard thing to say. And it's never like that. I don't think like that. That's what people think, though. It's a way to cope, they say. But no, you can't cope with your emotions or there's some rails where it's just strictly entertainment and straight fun, and there's some where you got to be serious. Because if you stay on one side, they only see you as that, and when you stay on one, they be like, you don't know if I'm serious. So it's good to hop between the two. That's why you see some energetic videos, some joking videos, and some serious ones. You can't stay serious 24/7. You can't take yourself too serious. One of the greatest minds doesn't take it too serious, and I won't ever tell you who's one of the greatest minds. You just gotta figure it out. It was great talking to you today. Same time next week. Shoot, who's on kid? I might make a video tomorrow. I like making videos with no edits. It's more. It's a better way to connect with the person. And as I don't want to be an underground visionary. Or a gem. Piece of coal that heats the souls of others but turns into ashes when it's no longer needed. But those ashes get spread across the land so his words never be forgotten. Yeah, man. It's great talking to you. And yeah, I will see you later.